So let's kind of chat about the Great Britain Police setup, and
Okay.
Can you tell me like just a little bit of a whistle-stop tour? I mean, how long has the GB Police Squad been going? What's some of their significant events in their history?
Yeah, well, Great Britain Police Rugby League came about in 1992 with a tour to Australia. And then Australia came back to England in 94, and that sort of galvanised sort of Great Britain Police, essentially. And then this Great Britain Police, back in the 90s, the local police services, West Yorkshire Police, North Yorkshire, Cumbria, Metropolitan Police, Humberside, South Yorkshire, they all had teams that played on a Wednesday afternoon in a league format. Essentially, those days are gone now because obviously there's more things to do in the policing world.
Yeah,
and there's less aspect on sport for the right reasons. Totally. But I got involved with them in '96. I was still playing at Bradford, so it was my last year at Bradford when I was playing sort of Super League rugby under Brian Smith and Matthew Elliott, and played at Wembley in '96, and then got called up to see if I want to go to Australia with Great Britain Police. So I thought, wow, that's a great finish to one career and a great start to another. So I went to Australia in '96 with Great Britain Police, and we beat Australia and New Zealand out there. And that began my love of police rugby, really. And I've been in touch and involved with them as player, captain, coach, team manager from '96 all the way through to 2015 when I retired from police service. But since the '96 tour, we've interacted with Australians and New South Wales guys and international rugby regularly, in essence.
Yeah.
All the way through to last year when New South Wales came across and played. They were part of a European tour and they played Great Britain Police at St Helens Ground. And now this team, the current Great Britain Police Rugby League team, are out in Australia, having been delayed from going out due to everybody's sort of bane, which was COVID.
So, I mean, the police, like I suppose, like the armed forces and all that, for the layman, the average person, they wouldn't probably know a great deal about the setup and all that kind of stuff. So, what is some of the challenges that Great Britain Police Rugby League face that people wouldn't necessarily be aware of?
Well, essentially, the challenges are keeping the same team and the same squad involved and on the field at any one time, and that's purely because policing comes first, rugby league comes second.
Yeah.
So these guys I call it is a sacrifice because they have to sacrifice some things. I.e., if they're on night shift, they have to get out of bed after a couple of hours sleep to get to a training session or a game or travel to a game as part and parcel of it. And that's the same with all. I mean, we play British Army, prison service, British teachers, and they all have the same problems, but it's the desire and the love of rugby league that keeps them focused, and they want to pull on an international jersey and a Great Britain shirt, be it in any capacity.
What aspects of being a member of the police, let's say, there'll be certain factors, I suppose, that every member of the police have got. They've got to have to do the job that they do and to provide that service. And you know, how does it sort of map across to rugby league?
Yeah, well, I mean, in simple terms, discipline, dedication, physical and mental toughness.
Yeah.
Now back then, we had all those things. And if you're playing in a team sport, no matter what the sport, I mean, we're talking about rugby league here, and we're talking about men's rugby league. But talk about ladies rugby league, talk about ladies sport, ladies anything. But if you're playing in a team environment, then it's giving you some team ethos and team ability, and that adds to communication skills. And you might have nothing in common with a member of the public when you're working and doing your job as a police officer. But the sport is always a common theme.
Yeah.
And certainly in north of England, it doesn't matter where you go or what you do. And I'll say when I was in police service, and I'll say it now, that if you strike up a conversation about sport, no matter what the circumstances, then generally it'll be beneficial.
And what about like support from like higher echelons, if you like? I mean, is it a sport that's supported well and funded well, or are you constantly battling to get time off and to get resources? You know, kind of how I know you've been out of the police now for a while, haven't you? But you know, what is the kind of general take on it?
I'm not essentially too familiar on that. I know time off the sport's more or less gone.
Yeah.
So the people that are playing police sport have to sort of bank their own time, so overtime and such like in holiday time. So it's that extra mile that they've got to get to play their desired sport. Now funding, a lot of it's self-funded. Now there is a couple of senior members on board on the committee that find some corporate funding, but in this current environment, the squeeze is on everybody. So it's hard yards all round by everybody. So get a home series together, and B, travel to the other end of the world to play in a series, and that's just what they've done. And that's it. Well, in essence, it's an 18-month project to go overseas on a tour for the British Police or the Great Britain Police, or it was, and it probably still is. So that squad's got to stay together for 18 months. That squad's got to fundraise for 18 months to ensure that they can then get on that plane to travel and represent not only the police service of Great Britain, but also Great Britain itself on the field as well as off the field in their diplomacy and how they operate and act.
Yeah. Just, I know you're not over there and you've not necessarily had a great deal of input into the team like as it stands at the minute, but in your opinion, John, what would that team have to achieve out there for them to feel like this tour is a success?
Well, last year when they played on home soil against the Australian team, they competed for 30 minutes.
Yeah,
and over 80 minutes they got well beat. Now they played last Sunday against Australia, the reigning Police World Cup champions.
Yeah,
and they lost 18-6. Now that in its own. I understand it's a loss, but it's an 18-6 loss, and that is a marvellous result for their first game off the plane and on the ground in Australia. So, everybody talks about winning and losing, but it's all about competition and how people play and whether they improve and how they evolve. Bear in mind, Australians still have a regular league system, police league system, where they're playing each other regularly in big competitions, big curtain raisers. Well, a lot of that stuff now for Great Britain Police have gone. So they're getting less match time, and they're still playing club rugby, so there's that commitment as well. I understand that, but the police are playing high-profile games against other police teams in organised competitions, whereas we are not. So 18-6 loss in the opening game, there's a lot to build on there, most certainly.
Yeah, it was a game. I got up to watch it as well because it was on early hours, wasn't it? It was streamed at early hours this on Sunday, and it seemed like there was like 10 minutes to the start where Great Britain was just kind of finding the feet almost, and then Australia scored, a belting try, and then Great Britain really kicked in and started competing, and I thought, we're going to win this. Like, I really, really got behind it, and some great displays of skill and some big hits as well. John, did you watch the game?
Yeah. And there were a Triad Season nomination as well.
Yeah,
from Great Britain.
Oh yeah, it's phenomenal that try. Yeah. My relative was involved in it. The guy he only had one boot on at the time. He did this flick out the back. I don't know how he managed it, but phenomenal try.
Down right side edge. Yeah, I do. Yeah. I'll tell you something. The times I've been to Australia with Great Britain Police, we've gone for 4 weeks. And we've had a week's intensive training camp. Get rid of jet lag. Get rid of all that stuff. Get on the training field. Quality time together. Tour time together. Those historically were always 4-week tours. That's Australia in '96, South Africa 2000, New Zealand 2004, Australia 2008. These guys, this current squad, are there 2 weeks total. That's getting off plane and getting off the plane back in England.
Yeah,
that's 2 weeks to acclimatise, to train hard, to enjoy a little bit of Australia as well, and that's to play. And their first game, 18-6, like I said to you, lots to build on. I mean, the second game on 6th of March, that looks like a real full day for everybody. You know, there's 2 curtain raisers on before that game.
Yeah.
Before they're going on at 4:30 kickoff.
John, I'm just last question. Just going to lean on your experience as a player, but also your vast experience as a coach. What do you think the squad out there need to do to perhaps take it a little bit further on this next game?
Believe, compete.
Yeah,
playing their systems in what is the cauldron of Australian rugby.
Yeah.
Now, they'll have done the reviews, they'll watch the videos back, and they are, without question, all got to be on fire for that game.
Yeah.
2 or 3 can't play out for them. They need all of them to be on top of the game. Now they've settled into that lifestyle, the touring lifestyle, the training twice a day lifestyle, and they've got to be charging on all cylinders.
Brilliant answer. Okay, John. Well, listen, thanks for taking the time to speak to us, and thanks for spreading the word of Great Britain Police Rugby League. Like I said, I'm a little bit invested in it. I've got a relative out there on the tour, but it's really grabbed me. What's grabbed me is the skill that was on shore, and just how competitive it was, and so I'm looking forward to that next game. Thanks for taking the time to speak to us.
Great stuff. Thank you.